Hello, welcome to the 29th day of December, 2021. My name is Kurt Bell, and this is the Good Life Meditation. This is something that I do every day to reflect on the day just spent, consider my objectives and principles, and then think about the day to come and how to best apply and use those objectives and principles to make it a good day. First, let's talk about yesterday. I was ambushed, which is often the thing that gets me is when life ambushes me. I set up a forecast of how the day is going to go, and then something happens doesn't quite fit in that, and I have to adjust. That's the kind of thing that kind of sometimes makes me upset. Gosh darn it, that's not what I expected. Something like that. In this case, and it's really, really rare that anything like that is anything very serious. Usually it's just stuff that's speed bumps. And yesterday there was a speed bump related to work. It was a work day, so that was my day, the focus of my day. I had set out for yesterday's plan that I wanted to do two things. I wanted to lay in the tasks and milestones, although I didn't say that yesterday, just the tasks. But I wanted to do the milestones as well for two of my three projects. And that's interesting. I didn't also express this too. I also wanted to do it in such a way on one of the projects to lay in dates and have the the start of a schedule. And the thing that got in the way was a mandatory training that I was sent that I thought I could knock out in 30 minutes. It took the training warned me it would take at least 4 hours, and it took about 5 hours because I had to take the training. The training was actually really good. A little bit of fluff scared me. Training was really good. It was new hire orientation for the place where I work, and it gave me brought up a couple of points that I needed to do something. So it took me that extra hour to diverge and off ramp and take care of those things. So I'm really grateful for the training. It was really good, but it took it took 5 hours of my day. Excuse me, my sneeze. I did complete the tasks that I wanted to do. It was a bit of a scramble, and I didn't complete them to the quality level that I want. Ollie, do you hear that? You can hear the rain on the roof. Huh? It's raining outside. We'll go out for a walk in just a little bit, okay? You want to come here? Or you want to come up here? So, come on. Come on. You want to get in there? Okay. So I didn't complete it to the level that I wanted. I could have done a better job, and I will do a better job today. That would be one of the things I want to do. Like I said, speed bump. I handled it without any problem. I recognized it for what it was, that this was an unexpected necessity that I needed to take care of, and that would impact my timeline, and I could do nothing better than to simply adjust my expectations accordingly. That's, using the principle of true limits and true opportunity. It is simply a limit that I have to apply. I have to take that training and an opportunity to start off on the better foot at work, which as I did, because I spent that 1 hour doing stuff that I would not have known I needed to do. Other than that, it was straight on routine all day yesterday. It was a good day yesterday. Let's do the good life. I hear the other dog. Rudy. Hi, Rudy. Come on in. Come on. Get in your little bed. I'll be with you in a minute. Good boy. Okay, both dogs are settled. 7 objectives. The first of these is to be always ready to die, to have my affairs in order, my relationships sound, and my life's work settled, or settled enough, so that if I die today, it will be what's the right word? A settled exit. 2, make a good and effective use of my time. To husband my days and my hours in such a way that they are effective and that I'm proud of my living. Like yesterday was a proud day. I have nothing particular to show for it other than a good day's work. I earned my living yesterday, and I'm proud of that. It was a good use of time. Number 3, the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. To think about life and to pull from my experience a plan and guidelines for how I will live, and to reflect on this regularly and to live accordingly. The next is the cultivation of good emotional reactions, to become the kind of man who doesn't fly off the handle, who doesn't let the speed bumps throw me off course, and gulp, who can even withstand the horror when it comes. Haven't yet been tested on that one too much. We'll see, right? God, that's a sobering thought. The next principle, or objective. See, that shook me a little bit, thinking of the coming horror. Now, the next objective is to do good things. Be kind to others. Pick up trash. Hold the door. Give to charity, etc., etc. The next is objective is to recognize true limits and true opportunity. To be honest and realistic with the circumstance of my life and the things that are happening, the obstacles and what can or cannot be accomplished. And the last one is to just do one thing at a time and to do that thing slowly and deliberately, as I'm doing right now. It's fun when I catch myself doing this at my job, one thing slowly. It's a level of, I want to say apparent, but I guess it isn't just apparent. It is effected maturity that I never thought I could achieve. All it was just practice and constantly reminding myself to do better. And then I'm doing better. Okay, those are my 7 objectives. Now let's do the 30 principles. The first of these is the principle of war. To be constantly fighting with everything that I believe is true, doubting what I think is true, attacking my propositions of truth, and likewise the proposals from others, at least those that require such due diligence before they could be believed. And the instrument of that war is my reason, namely my honesty and my objectivity and my skepticism or my doubt. That was the second principle. The third principle is the homunculus, the little mortal that's living inside my head, my consciousness, stranded on a little rock sticking out of the sea. Can't escape. The homunculus is going to die with me very soon. This is what it's like today. There's that little homunculus, my consciousness, standing on the Anchorhold, which is the next principle. The little rock sticking out of the sea. There's the water still, but maybe the water's dark today. There you go. That's better. The water's dark. I don't want to fall in. And there's a rain coming down. And I've got an umbrella. You can see little umbrella tines there. And I'm just waiting it out. Got to be careful today. The rocks are a little slippery down here. I'll explain that in just a minute. That's the homunculus, the little mortal inside my head, and that's the Anchorhold, the rock sticking out of the sea. The water is calm today, just a little bit of a churn, but it's dark and black because the sky is overcast. You can't see inside. Dude, want to be down there in that water. The next principle is the home of good and evil, the place where our consciousness writes on the lintel these objectives and principles with a piece of chalk, gradually getting smaller piece of chalk. Eventually it's going to run out. Another allusion to mortality. You can scribble it off if you make a mistake, and the wind will blow it away. Maybe the rain will come down. As long as I'm not chiseling it in stone, or worse yet, believing that I inherited tablets chiseled in stone by some deity. That's a bunch of nonsense. I'm responsible for my right and wrong, and it is subjective, and it does go away, and it requires maintenance and hard work. That's the home of good and evil. The next is the principle of purpose, and the idea that my purpose consists of fulfilling my biological mandate to reproduce, having a kid, making a family. Also, being a good man, a virtuous man, where virtue is defined as the seeking the improvement of the well-being of others, particularly thinking creatures, where well-being is objective actions and conditions that improve living, that make us happier, healthier, and better. Very, very straightforward. And then my last purpose is my mission. And my mission was the writing of this book. This is Going Alone. This is the book. This is why I do this every day. This was my life's work. This is the story of my own great life adventure, and then the consequent story that I wrote about it. And it contains a chapter called The Good Life, where I relate these 7 objectives and 30 principles. This can be found on Amazon. You can also get it from my website, goingalone.org. If you get it from the website, I'll sign it before I send it to you, and I'll send you some goodies. The next principle is the principle of, I always say it that way, the atomic principle. We're just a reminder that there's no real substance to us. We're just atoms and molecules, and most of that is empty space. After that comes the principle of nature. Everything has a particular nature. And it's good to remember that so that we can better assess and address the day. Like it's the nature of a Wednesday to have kind of an in-between feel to it between the start and the end of the week. The next principle is the pirate ride. My tentatively held belief that we do not have free will, that this thing that we think where we're making choices is an illusion, that we can make any choice that we want, but the choice that we make is the only one we would have ever made. It's not fatalism, it's not determinalism. It's a strange middle ground where I think we are the consequence of everything about us is the consequence of the universe before us and the momentum and inertia that we have. My problem is I can't demonstrate this. I don't know how to. So I don't state that it's absolutely the case. This is my tentatively held position. And I'm ready and willing and eager to be convinced otherwise, should someone be able to do so. But the people on the other side have the same problem. They can't prove that free will is real either. So we're both stuck. So I have an operating position, which is we don't have it. I can live with that. After the pirate ride comes the principle of maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. We are mature when we remember the past, our successes and failures, and we're strong in our endeavor to not repeat the mistakes and to capitalize and build upon our successes, particularly in the pursuit of virtue. Next comes the social principle. We humans need others. We need each other. It's a good thing to cultivate social skills and to try to get out there and be a part of the community and maybe even find someone to spend our life with and build a family. There are real tangible rewards for that. It's hard work and a lot of challenge too, but it's definitely a good path, especially as you get older. When you start to feel the cold nights and the bones start to ache and your mind becomes a little timid and afraid, and you realize mortality is not a thing for the aged only, and that you are in fact becoming the aged. It's good then to have our people and to not be alone. The next principle is the principle of public speaking, a suggestion of careful language, deliberate, enunciated, controlled utterances. The considered use of silence, knowing when to not even say anything. To let the room speak. To let nothing speak. And most important of all, when it comes to social interactions, is to not gossip, to not talk about other people when they're not around. Particularly, to say anything that you'd be embarrassed to have them hear or to know that you said. Pardon me. The next principle is temperance, which is our controlled consumption of all things, including our thoughts and our words, our actions, our commitments, etc. And there's three sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy, because a temperate life is one where we're suffering when we don't give ourselves what we want. It's a simple life by nature, by nature of what it is. And we have to remember to let go of our commitment and connection to the things that we can't control. We'll let them be. The next principle is the horror show, which is simply a reminder that life is chock full of horror, not only for us humans, but for the animals that we love, and particularly for the animals that we use, and for the rest of the life on Earth. It's good to remember that, and to be prepared for it, and to help alleviate it wherever possible. Next comes the principle called that which must be borne, the things we have to carry, the tough stuff of life that we can't escape from, and we don't want to drink ourselves away from, or run away from, or do whatever we can to hide the pain. You have to recognize, feel, and carry the pain. That's why it has to be borne. And we do that with the sub-principle of the hand on the tiller. We keep our hand on the tiller of that boat, steering that course steady forward through the storm, through the horror, into a better life. Or maybe death. Ultimately that. Damn, my worldview is grim. It's grim, but but I think it's real. The next one is the Feast of Offal. It's what we do when we lose control and we don't keep our hand on the tiller, and we jump up and we shout at the world, and we shout at others, and we let them all have it. I try to avoid that. It's not really very productive. Next comes distraction. We distract ourselves throughout life by all kinds of things. Work and hobbies, friendships, a belief in God, church, things like that. These are all distractions from the next principle, which is agency and the great indifference. Agency being us, we are agents, and then the great indifference is this awful, howling emptiness of the universe that doesn't seem to give a damn. That's what we're distracting ourselves from. Those two kind of go hand in hand. Next comes, do I feel like I'm missing something? I think I'm okay. Next comes the best seat in the house, a reminder that where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing is just fine, even when it's not fine. Hand on the tiller. Next is the Path of Wildness. It's a decision and a commitment and a direction to press on into new territory in life, despite our fear and our uncertainty, particularly when we're young. The simple recognition that forward progress into new worlds and new life is often its own reward. And after that is the risk of avoiding risk, an observation that life is full of challenges that are both sanctioned and recommended, like going to school and getting married and having kids and having a good job and saving for retirement. Everybody, is on board with that. That's the easy stuff, relatively speaking. Easy. I mean, I haven't achieved some of those things, but compared to the other risk, which is the deep risk of becoming a self-actualized person, of cultivating your identity and doing something with your life that produces your art, whatever barbaric yelp you want to shout into the night before you wink out. It's hard to do both the surface level risks, safe and sane, and that deep one. My recommendation is to take the decade of your 20s for the deep stuff, and then from 30 on, work on the surface level stuff. You'll be behind a lot of your peers, but you'll still have the best stories. Next is, and just to note, there are people out there that are able to do the deep one within the surface one. Like, for example, there are people out there that find that depth in their education and whatever career they choose. And I admire those people, and I envy them to a degree. After that comes the sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my worldview. These are credulity, an overwillingness to believe; hope, wishful thinking not coupled to action; faith, belief for belief's sake, without any real expectation or requirement for evidence; dogma, belief because it's part of our canon; authority, belief because someone with a title or an office or a big hat says it's true; superstition, belief that's practically recognized as nonsense; and then gossip, talking about others in ways that you wouldn't want them to overhear. These are my 7 sins, and the consequence of these sins is damnation, but not in some afterlife hell. Damnation in the here and now, in our lower quality living. And we do pay a price for all those things. Complete oblivion is the next principle. The suggestion that the homunculus dies with us. There is no soul. That we will not continue after we are dead. That we will not see anyone after we're dead. We won't have a chance to reconcile with anybody after we're dead. And there will be no justice. We better attend to that stuff now. Now the great life adventure is the next one. That's one or more activities or directions or life circumstance that kind of form us and make us who we are. And it can relate to work or other things. Like there's plenty of people that, men, maybe to a lesser degree women, who were enlisted into wars and then survived, and then that was their great life adventure, and that's where their identity is wrapped up in. Some could be their career, For a lot of us, it's something else, like I said before. It's a tougher one. For me, it was the adventure of Japan, and the adventure of the life with my wife, and to a lesser degree, the hiking that I've done. The next principle is the season of philosophy. It's a time to record what we've learned through life, to put it to words or painting or music or however you want to do it. You could vlog it and then leave that behind, like I've done with my book. This is my season of philosophy, my time to record here. I've done that. So that's one of the reasons that I'm in a better place than ever to die, because my life's work is done. All that I have to do now is do this every day, do my job, and have fun. Pretty easy. But there's risk in that ease. Okay, this is one now. The bullseye aim is the next one. The idea that we strive for the mark, but we usually miss. Like yesterday, I strove for the mark, but I missed because I was distracted by a 4-hour, 5-hour training. Next comes the uphill climb. Life is a steady, steady uphill climb. Trudge, trudge, trudge. Watch out when you stop climbing. That's when the cold will get you. The next principle is the arena and utility. Life is this venue, an arena for the execution of our living, and our objectives and principles are the tools that we use to perform this life. Just two more. The principle of nothing is enough. Back to simplicity, back to temperance, a recognition that things don't necessarily buy us happiness or contentment, not for long at least. That sometimes a better life is a life that lives and expects less and gets by with less. Making its peace and enjoying life without the specter of consumption distracting us all the time. The last principle is the principle of fun. Just a reminder to enjoy my day, have fun, do things that I like. So let's pick some of these out. What do I like? I like walking. I like thinking. I like being with my dogs. I like having dinner with my wife and my daughter. Now let's close with the forecast of the day. It's a Wednesday. I have a meeting today with a team. I want to go over with them the completed project plan, which I did prepare and is ready. I did that on Monday. I want to make sure that we've got all of the deliverables assigned. And I want to try to close a couple of open items with them and show them the schedule as it looks. Get their buy-in and move us forward. Mostly getting the team ready so that we can start next week in January on solid footing, beginning to execute on our deliverables and pushing forward. I'm a little nervous, but I always am. It's because it's just the nature of the way that I work. It's my nature. And with that, I'll finish. Yeah, I wish you all the best. Remember to be safe, but not too safe. Take care.